Alright, how are you getting on now? So, let's get back into this, some things we can do with this kind of fake organ sounding stuff. So, actually, we'll play it clean first, without the effect or the tone stuff or anything like that. And then we can apply it to what we're doing. So let's say all this stuff, I mean, unless you're using the open strings, I guess you can move it around pretty much anywhere and use it for any key you like. I did it a couple of weeks ago when we were playing the casino, and we ended up playing Red Red Wine. And, you know, which is, actually I really like the tune, I always have. But trying to find a part in Red Red Wine where it wasn't clashing with Jeff or you know, or Ken, who was playing acoustic rhythm, I started just the organ comping, like. It kind of worked, you know. The other thing we did, if you're anything like me and a lot of the guys I know, you know, you're playing the bar circuit and stuff like that, and wedding gigs or whatever comes, you know, whatever comes up on the circuit, and whatever you're hired for. Although it didn't happen this weekend, which I was amazed at, you end up having to play Brown Eyed Girl. And it makes you really, really sick of the song. And it's, I always find Brown Eyed Girl, I mean, a lot of people love it, and I'm sure it's a lovely tune and everything like that, but when you have to play it every fucking gig and every time, it does wear on a guy, you know, and you kind of get a little sick of, or you know, that kind of gets a bit boring, and especially when you get, you know, when you're playing, and you start in the first, and you hear some bitch in the back, like the kind who comes back from the Caribbean or the Dominican every fucking year with bad cornrows and like a third-degree sunburn, and that's my song, and goes running for the fucking stage and spills Zima everywhere, or Bombay or whatever the fuck. That gets kind of old. But anyway, in Brown Eyed Girl, what I did the other night was play kind of sustained organ chords underneath the other guys, like. And it's like, oh, okay, well, that's kind of new. I haven't done that before, so it made that particular version bearable for me. So there's all sorts of places you can use this stuff. So let's talk about some ways of using that. And well, okay, let's you know what? Fuck it. Let's just take that tune. I'm not going to mention it again. It's like the Hamlet of music for me, I suppose, or the Macbeth, I should say. Macbeth. Yeah. So that particular Van Morrison tune starts on a G, goes to a C, up to a D, right? And then someone's doing that during the tune, and there's comping and whatnot. So if you want to use this kind of organ thing in something like that, the tune that shall not be named, if you take another inversion of E, so for example, I used the C grip, for want of a better word, which, if you don't know that one, it's like playing a C chord, but you move it up to the 7th position with your pinky, and you play, instead of playing the open G, you play the G with your index finger down on the 4th fret. You can move that shape all over if you don't know that one. But anyway, so what instead of, or in G, I'm sorry, what the hell am I thinking? Horse Thief used to play in E, everyone else plays in G, that's why I kind of get mind fucked on it. So G, so I use that inversion of G in the 10th position. And then I play a C, like an F shape. Then up to the D in the 10th position. Or you can just sustain those. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll use then a lower inversion for, then the C I'll use then is, if you use the cage system, it's like a G position C. So that is the C with the pinky on the 8th fret low E string. Ring fingers are going to go on the 7th fret A string. Then you're going to bar off on the 5th fret on the D, G, and B strings. So it adds kind of like a lower register to it and kind of fuller. Move that up to the 5 in this case, which is D. Now in the 10th position, back to your G. Right? Now, and that's kind of an interesting way of making a song like that bearable, that you have to play over and over and over again every fucking night. So that kind of, like stuff like that, it comes in really handy. Now you can have your tone control rolled up, like I was just having it just for, demonstration purposes, or you can have it kind of rolled off a bit so it sounds like the older school. And mix and match those chord positions too if you want. You can just stay in that one position, more or less. Right? So, and that's, a very easy way of taking something very, very standard and making it a little more interesting for yourself and kind of adding something to it. If you don't have a keyboard player with you or something like that, it's kind of a neat thing you can do. The other thing is cool to do is we've talked about in these earlier lessons, I talked about these kind of triplet rolling arpeggios, which is like if you take a 7th arpeggio and instead of, or whatever, play it across a bunch of strings. So even if we take a simple 7th chord, I'll try to get through this one quickly because we're coming up on 7.5 minutes. So if we take like E7 for example, like it's a C, like a C7 moved up to the 3 frets higher, right? Everyone knows that grip. And if you don't, now you do. So if we're going to take that grip and with the right hand we're going to do like almost like a fake banjo roll. You're going to bring your thumb over the top of the neck and hit this B, right? And you're going to play 1, 2, 3, 1 with the right hand. I got to get a little closer. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 with the right hand. Practice that loud at home with the amp crank. Everyone will love you. That won't get old at all. So you take your 7th chord, you play that, just bring your thumb up over and nab that B for the first 3 notes. And so you play the first 3 adjacent strings, then you move up with your pick and play the next 3 adjacent strings. So when you play that quick, it sounds kind of neat. But if you play that same sort of thing, but change the right hand approach. If you play them instead of rolls, play them just straight like a piano player would all at the same time. Right? Really easy. Now, here's the tricky part. Put on your, well, before we do the vibrato, slide everything up and down a half step each. Right? So now we're going. So which is a really good lead up if you're leading say from the 1 to the 4, for example. So if we put that in context, so if we're in the key of E, and land on that 4 or something like that, that's kind of another cool thing you can throw in. So that's, holy shit, that's almost 10 minutes. So let's stop there and we'll move on to the next one.
Check.